You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everybody. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded. So go ahead, lock them, load them, get them ready to go. We're going to talk about gun stuff today. We're going to talk about shooting stuff. We're going to talk about self-defense. We're going to talk about being prepared. How are you going to prepare yourself? We're going to talk about red flag laws as well.
Speaking of red flag laws, and speaking of Schumer,
oh yeah, here we go.
A good story.
Let's come right out of the gate.
Jump right into it.
Now, if you were listening a few minutes ago on Point with Victor, he talked about Schumer making his statements, which I'm just going to remind you real quick. He said, I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hits you if you go forward with these awful decisions. That sounds like a threat. That's not even a veiled threat.
That is a full-on threat. And that's, you could even say, you know, the Democrats accuse the Republicans of dog whistles. That's a dog whistle if I've ever heard a dog whistle.
He's saying, we're going to come get you. I mean, how do you threaten a Supreme Court justice like this if you're a sitting senator? So what do you do to a sitting senator? How do you go after him? Well, Gun Owners of America has sent a letter and applied for a red flag law order application to Governor Cuomo requesting a temporary extreme risk protection order for Senator Schumer.
And under their own rules, Schumer has shown that he has verbally threatened someone. He's shown the bad judgment of making a public threat. And
paying the price for the wrong vote. I mean, how is he going to extract this price from them? How does he plan to? I want to get clarification here.
Exactly. So by their own red flag rules, the red flag law should be brought against Schumer.
Well,
and
yeah.
Schumer should have his weapons seized, including his
security detail. Yes, that will be included. That is one of the things they mentioned. His armed security detail will be put under this extreme risk protection order as well. So he will lose his rights to have a gun and his rights to have gun protections.
And it will never happen unless if Schumer were to change to the Republican Party tomorrow, he would be red flagged.
Oh my gosh. And they would enforce it and they'd come after him. They'd probably knock his door down. Mm-hmm. And what's that Gonzalez?
At 5 in the morning.
They would be taking some little Mexican
little
Cuban child away from
child.
him. Yes, they would take him away from him.
Oh, come on, they're all Mexicans.
No. Cuban. I know the difference.
Cubans.
But no, you wonder, okay, now how can they determine this? Okay, according to the law, this is law 240.30, 1, A. Okay, there you go. A person is guilty of aggravated harassment in the second degree with intent to harass another person. Either communicates anonymously or otherwise by phone, computer, by electronic means, or by mail, by transmitting or delivering any other form of communication, a threat to cause physical harm or unlawful harm to the property of such a person or member of such a person's same family or household. Telling a judge that you will pay the price, you won't know what hit you. That sounds like something the mafia would say.
Well, Schumer would know since he accuses Trump of being the mafia.
Exactly.
He himself is a New Yorker.
That's right. I mean, apparently he's in a little gang of his own, and he decides he's going to take more power than he was given.
I don't think there's any mafia family that would allow whiny Schumer to be in their gang.
Oh, no, don't be ridiculous. They may pay him to do certain things. I'm not saying it happens, but I'm saying, it's New York. Anything can happen there.
In the words of Cartman, I just want to say, bad Jew.
Bad senator. Oh, my gosh.
And bad senator.
Oh, my gosh. Can you believe this guy? So this red flag order has been filed by the Gun Owners of America. Now, I'm curious to see if a judge is going to look at this and just dismiss it because, he's a senator, so we're not even going to look twice at it. Or is he going to look at the actual verbiage here and see if it actually is a threat? Is he going to determine that this is a threat? And Schumer made an unveiled threat to 2 Supreme Court justices.
I'm old enough to remember that back when, I want to say it was Palin or now I can't remember who it was. But in an ad, they actually used, because she was a known hunter, she actually used a target in some ad, and they tried to go after her saying she was threatening Democrats. So that clearly wasn't a threat. And here's Schumer clearly with a threat.
Call them out
they're-
by name.
Yeah.
I mean,
By
there's
name.
nothing veiled. There's nothing
Yeah.
implied. He specifically called them out and said something's going to hit you.
And as I mentioned before, they will. Where's Lindsey Graham? Where's McConnell? Where's the Republican leadership? So far, they've done nothing.
Well, you were saying,
Nothing.
are they going to stand for this? No, apparently they're going to sit down and
they're gonna-
twiddle their thumbs.
Exactly. Yeah. But,
They're going to stand up for it.
I'll tell you this too. If it had been a Republican that did what Schumer did, the Republican establishment would be the first ones to throw him out. The Democrats wouldn't even have to do it.
Oh my God! Oh,
But they won't do it to a
and
Democrat.
the media would have gone, Corona what? Who?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there would have been no more virus.
That's right.
There would have been
The
no more
viral
problem.
threat would have been gone. No one would have even thought twice about that because
You know-
now we have a Republican senator to go after for threatening.
Yeah, for threatening
Supreme Court
Had he
justices.
been a Republican,
Right.
Imagine the difference, and it just ticks me off, and that's why I get mad at the established
Well,
Republicans
you know,
because
it's-
they'll eat their own, but they won't go after Democrats.
I say stuff like that. You say stuff like that, and it's true. They probably will, but you know what? They tend to err on the side of being right. Right, wrong. They don't care who it was who did it.
Right.
They don't want anyone who's wrong to be
Wrongfully
there.
accused.
Wrongfully accused, or they don't want somebody to be in power if they do things that they're not supposed to do, unless they're Democrats. Because the
Right.
media will blow them up if they try and go after Schumer.
yeah.
But I'm hoping
But-
this comes to something.
Look, if Graham and McConnell do not censor Schumer, they need to be thrown out of office. Period. There is no excuse.
No reason why they shouldn't. They have
No
a majority
excuse.
in the Senate.
Absolutely.
They need to
I
do
know.
that.
Well, they should also
got the power.
They should also be throwing out a whole lot of subpoenas for all the FISA abuse and all the lies that were told and the Hillary emails. And have you seen any of that? Nope.
But let's just say the red flag law goes through on this, okay? Because, we're talking the gun people. They're curious as to how this is going to affect them. Well, now Schumer has to go for counseling because he made a threat to somebody. He has to go for psychiatric evaluation at this point.
Can you imagine that? Schumer, I'm Senator Schumer. Don't make me angry.
That's the problem, I mean, our country was founded on equality under the law, but apparently we have gotten away from that, and we're going towards more of a royal status on some of these senators and congresspeople. They think they're above the law. In fact,
Oh, without a doubt. They think
Hillary's
they're above
body or the Clintons' body count is higher than the coronavirus.
You might have a point there.
Of course, I've been, we're talking about preparing, and I think, people buying toilet paper, getting water, that's just preparation in case Bernie Sanders wins. That's what you're going to have to do.
I'd like to see somebody ask Biden about this. What Schumer threatened. Legend Dave pointed out earlier that Biden just today was accosted a supporter who had the audacity to ask him about the Second Amendment.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
So,
he lost it.
He absolutely lost it. So why don't they somebody ask Biden what he thinks about Schumer and the red flag law? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear Socialist Sanders. Oh, it's a human right.
Yeah,
well,
except for it's not in the
except
Constitution.
for-
But the one that is in the Constitution is dangerous to the public.
Yep.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Okay, Biden came out and said that if he were to win, he's going to put Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke.
The fake Hispanic returns.
Where does, the name Beto, is that just a nickname he gave himself? Maybe I should give him a new nickname.
Pretty much. Yeah, he does need a new nickname.
Okay, Robert Francis Fruit Loops O'Rourke is coming out.
That's much better.
Now, in case you don't remember who he was the guy who said, now where is it? I am coming for your AR-15s. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hell yes, I'm going to take away your AR-15s. Hell yes, I'm going to take away your AK-47s. Hell yes, we're going to take away your AK-47s and your AR-15s. And this is the guy that Biden wants to run his gun control.
Basically, Biden wants to have a gun czar. And folks need to understand, Roger, that his gun czar in O'Rourke, it basically means this is the guy who's going to figure out a way to seize guns.
He's going to try.
He's going to try.
They tried to do that in 1770s, and it didn't work out very well.
Nope.
British
Nope. Little old band of farmers beat the hell out of the British Army.
The British Empire went from being sun never sets on the British Empire to a little island in the North Atlantic.
Ain't that the
I love when they try and tell us how to do things here. We're like, yeah, we quit listening to you like 200 years ago.
200 years ago. Over. Yes.
You know, we can be friends, but, don't tell us how to run things anymore.
Yeah, we'll be friends, but don't tell us what to do. You keep your crappy health care. Keep your knives and your bats.
Oh, no, they can't keep those anymore. That's right, the knives. They have to hand them in.
They have to hand in knives now, have registered. No, this is ridiculous.
I guess they just have to sharpen a spoon and hope for the best.
A spork. Is that where the spork came from? Did it come from England?
What if they have a spife, a knife spoon?
So you have to be careful holding the edge of the spife because you want to use it as a spoon and you need to use it as a fork. But it's got to have a little bit of an edge so it can cut too.
You would hope, but then if it's got too much of an edge, it becomes a knife and they confiscate it.
And then they confiscate it.
Now, I wonder if you go to a steakhouse in Britain somewhere, the best steakhouse they've got, you order your steak, do they come by and say, okay, please fill out this application for your background check before we give you your steak knives?
No, they probably have government officials that cut it for you.
Oh, that's right. It comes pre-cut to the table.
It's the nanny state.
That's right. You have to pull it apart with your fork.
You are not capable of cutting your own steak. We, the government, are going to do it for you.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you don't get a knife. You failed your background check.
Can they even eat meat anymore in England?
I don't know. I don't know.
According to Ocasio-Cortez and the Green New Deal, meat just can't have that anymore.
That's right. She was campaigning against meat while she was stuffing a cheeseburger down her throat.
Well, remember, it's bad for you, but it's okay for us.
That's right. Go ahead, set the example by shoving a cheeseburger down your throat and telling me I can't have a steak.
Oh, man.
I'm sure it was not an Impossible Burger either. That was full on cow.
No, there was no plant-based except the lettuce that she had on top of the big fat burger.
That's right.
100% beef.
And the thing is, cows have been turning plants into meat forever.
Forever.
So why bother trying to perfect something nature's already done? I don't get it.
Exactly. What makes man think he can make a burger better than a cow?
That's right. Well, how is he going to convert this plant stuff into beef-like substance when a cow can do it better?
When a cow can do it better.
I give the cow credit where its credit is due.
Yeah, damn straight. There's no machine better than a cow going out in the pasture and turning grass into a nice 80-20 burger patty.
But now, we're talking about the red flag laws and everything, but get this. California creating gun team task force. Now you're thinking county gun team. What is that? Shooting club, turkey shoots, pistol competitions?
I'd join that.
Not quite. The county of Santa Clara, California is creating county gun teams. Now what do? Since we're talking about red flag laws, this is a team that's go around and try and collect guns from people who are not supposed to have them.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's going to get messy.
So they're the anti-gun league.
Right. These are state-sponsored group who are going to come around and try and collect guns
anti-gun group
from people they deem are unable to have them.
Guns.
Well, we're going to come back in a minute and talk about this because this can go wrong in so many ways.
Real fast.
All right, you're listening to America's Web Radio. I am Roger B., and this is Locked and Loaded.
Good morning. My name is Mike Mizell. I'm a retired Army colonel and president of the Johns Creek Veterans Association. We meet in Newtown Park, and part of one of our projects is the installation of the Healing Wall, the half-scale model of the Vietnam Wall that traveled the United States. Well, it's coming to rest, and it's going to live in Johns Creek forever, the half-scale model. We're looking at possibly a March implementation ribbon cutting ceremony, and we're looking for donors and sponsors that want to help us in this great project. You can donate at jcvets.org.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
In 2009, the membership organization Docs for Patient Care was founded. People all around the country wanted to participate in the efforts of this group, and they wanted to join, but they were unable to do so unless they were physicians. It's for this reason that the Docs for Patient Care Foundation was created. Now, everyone can join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. While you're at your computer, please go to www.docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's www.docs4patientcarefoundation.org and make a tax-deductible donation and join the fight along with us. Thank you.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we are back. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. And joining me today is a special guest, Victor Armendariz from On Point with Victor.
For a little while.
Making commentary. So let's go back to the California Gun Team Task Force. These guys, their sole job is to go take guns from people door to door.
And this is California, so
Excuse me.
I can imagine how this is going to go, Roger. I mean, I think it's going to be something like this. Hello, excuse me. Yes, we're here for your guns. Under the new law, we're here for your guns.
To collect them, yes. Oh, and that's going to go over real well. These people who apparently, now they're claiming some of these are not supposed to have guns, are mentally unfit, they're felons, and they're going to try and collect the guns from them, which, I guess you don't want felons having guns.
Hey, if they're a felon, then go out. If they're a criminal, I have no problem with it.
But with the red flag laws, anybody can say, oh, they've got a gun. In fact, there was a red flag law pushed on someone who was a police officer by the mother of someone who was shot by that police officer after he brandished a weapon and fired at police.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's stupidity that is just running rampant today.
I know, and you wonder. I mean, of course, now the red flag law order for the police officer was pushed aside. It was not put through.
Well,
so
they protect their own.
Well, yeah, and because
the
shooting was deemed to be legitimate, even though she was a grieving mother and said, this cop, he shouldn't be on the streets. He just likes to shoot people. It's like, no, your son brandished a weapon, fired a police officer, then they fired back.
Right.
He started it.
Hey, if you're dumb enough to shoot at an officer, then, you're dumb enough.
Last week we had the story. The guy pulls out a fake gun, points it at police officers, and expected them to just stand there. And he committed suicide.
Again, if you're dumb enough to point or shoot a gun or anything that looks like a gun at a cop, then you are dumb enough to receive the returning round.
Yeah, but this is going to be sending armed units to people's houses to go take their guns away. Now, granted, in the case of felons and stuff like that, but I wonder if they're going to include gang member registries and stuff like that, because I already agreed to take them out of red flag law potential, taking out all the gang members. It's like, what's the point of that? Those are the guys who most likely need to be red flagged, and they want to not use those databases.
Well, because Democrats don't want to go after criminals. They want to go after you and me.
They want to go after people who will defend the law.
Exactly.
If it comes down to it. I saw a perfect meme the other day. It shows a patch of new poured concrete, and around it are all these orange cones. And it says red flag laws, gun safety laws, waiting periods, blah, blah, blah. And then there's two footprints stomped through the freshly poured concrete that says criminals. Because no amount of laws are going to stop a criminal from doing whatever he wants to do.
That's true. They prove it every day.
I know. But this is the same thing that was happening in the 1770s. The British were coming around collecting guns from people, or trying. And if you have 26 guns and the government comes to take 26 guns, how many guns do you have? 26 guns. Actually, it's more like 56 guns because I lied about the 26.
because after they come for the 26, you're going to go find the other 26 in that boat accident.
That's right. They may come to the surface at that point. Because I know there have been an enormous number of boating accidents in the last couple of years that have claimed so many hundreds of thousands of guns from people. So, I'm sure that's just a matter of time before some of those will start coming back into the surface.
Yeah.
But this group, they're making this, and of course, in order to fund this, they're asking for more money, more taxes, all kinds of other stuff to go anti-gun on everybody, and they're starting to encourage people to file red flag laws against somebody they think may be a potential danger. So they're basically trying to stir the pot here and go, let's see, we've got this gun task force, we want to use them. We don't want it just sitting there in the reserves.
Absolutely. They're using the red flags and any task force they can come up with to seize weapons from law-abiding citizens. That's all
and
it is.
unfortunately, with red flag laws, you don't get a day in court. You don't get to argue your point. They just take them away, and then you have to prove your innocence.
You have to prove your innocence, which goes against everything our judicial system is based on.
Now, I granted, if by some chance you go to a felon who has been convicted and is not supposed to have a gun, their evidence is already in. It's been proven.
Right.
He's been proven guilty already.
Right.
But for red flag laws,
not
when
doing
someone
that.
just points,
They're not using red flag laws for that. If you go back, you just go look at the cases we have now. 90+% of them are against law-abiding citizens.
right, there was a gentleman who was killed because his sister thought he argued too loudly when he was discussing things.
Crazy.
And the police were there to take his guns away, and he's like, oh, no, you're not. I've never committed a crime in my life. And he had a spotlessly clean criminal record. But because his sister got mad at him, turned him in, a little fight ensued. He ended up getting shot and killed.
And he got shot and killed. Wonder
And
how she feels today.
Oh, I'm sure she doesn't think it's her fault.
Well, probably not.
She doesn't, you know. Oh, here it is. It was in Colorado. A woman tried to have a police officer stripped of the right to carry weapons via the state's red flag laws. Because he shot a 19-year-old, which was an armed felon.
Criminal.
That's right. And, you know, I understand the grieving mothers. She wants to blame somebody. Her son is a perfect angel, I'm sure. Well, in this case, he was not. Not even close.
He was not.
So, but this is going to be interesting to see. I mean, California, let's go door to door and collect guns. I mean, and it's funny because people say, oh, it would never happen here.
Yeah. Well, those are famous last words. Usually spoken.
Uh-oh, we have a comment coming from.
Legendary Dave.
Did you hear about the case in New Jersey where a cop pulled over a gentleman?
A security officer.
A security officer, exactly.
Yes. And he was arrested for having hollow point bullets in his gun. Even though.
Which were issued by his company.
The security company he worked for.
You kidding me?
And they took him to jail. They pressed charges against him, and now they're trying to work it out. But so far, charges have been pressed. He's been convicted, I guess, of violating New Jersey state law about hollow point bullets. Which, if you know anything about bullets, which most of my listeners I would hope do, they're much safer than solid point bullets.
Much safer.
In urban environments, especially.
Especially in urban environments, and so here's the idiot Democrats trying to take a hardworking guy who they say they support, a hardworking blue-collar American.
They don't support that. We know better.
Support, and now they're not only are they trying to cost him his job, they're trying to give him a criminal record so he can't get a job after that. But you know what they'll do? It created another dependent.
Right, but the fact that this is becoming a case that was brought to the spotlight and people are seeing it, hopefully they're going to make a turnaround just to avoid bad press.
Hopefully they'll back.
They'll back down and get away from that. I'm hoping. Yeah,
Well,
it's just
they probably will, because the only time a Democrat oppressive government will back down is when they fear the people.
yes. And before you go, oh, it's some crazy white guy. No, it's a black guy.
I know.
A hardworking black guy. Oh my God, the Democrats don't want that.
A person of color.
That's right, working hard.
You know-
What did who was it who said Bloomberg? He's gone now, but he said, black people can't hold a job because they don't know how to act in the workplace.
He said blacks and Hispanics don't know how to act in the workplace.
What a moron!
He said it. Well, there is one black guy that in New Jersey that hopefully just became a Trump voter.
Let's hope so. Maybe he sees who knows? Maybe he already was.
Maybe
That's why he was targeted.
Well, maybe onto something there.
Obama targeted conservatives with the
Absolutely,
IRS
used the IRS
as a weapon.
Very highly illegal thing to do, and Obama got away with it.
And nobody seems to notice that now. They don't
It's
care about it
okay
anymore.
when Democrats do it.
When
Democrats do wrong, you look the other way, and then you go and you accuse the Republicans of doing what the Democrats did. That's the way this works.
That's the way the CIA works too.
Yeah.
Remember? Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations.
Make counter accusations.
That's exactly what they're doing. Oh my God, they're following the mantra.
Oy vey.
I like using that myself, actually. Works really well.
Absolutely works well. Right along with the other one, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
These are my mottos. So,
But I wonder if that would work with a police officer. Sir, you were speeding. Oh, yeah? Are you sure you weren't speeding?
you weren't speeding?
I don't think I was. I think you were speeding.
Let's see, if I was doing 50, you clearly had to catch me, so you were clearly doing
You were going
60.
faster anyway. That would call for a citizen's arrest.
Yeah, they may not go over too well either.
Speaking of citizen's arrest, let's jump right into this one. There's a veterans group that is preparing to make citizen's arrest of Washington leaders over unconstitutional gun laws.
Sweet.
I think I talked about this last week just
And
for
you
a few
said
minutes.
Washington?
They want to go after
This-
federal law enforcement officer or federal senators, congresspeople,
congressmen.
lawmakers for violating the Second Amendment.
And
I
this
know.
is Washington.
Washington.
It gives me hope for a liberal state like that.
And you wonder if veterans are willing to do this. Most of the veterans, the ones that stay active after they get out of the service, generally have that mentality that the military gives them or helps them to grow. So I would hope that most of the active military would feel the same way. And if push came to shove, they would stand on the side of the Constitution and they would be behind the people to be able to help enforce the laws and not be used as a blunt instrument by politicians to take away people's rights.
That's exactly right.
That's something that's eventually this is gonna come to, there's gonna be an issue. Something's gonna come up. People are gonna get pushed. I mean, now obviously performing a citizen's arrest on a politician is probably not gonna go over too well and you're gonna look like a crazy person.
True, but
It'll be symbolic probably more than
right,
anything, but
right.
it'll be a start.
But hopefully it'll go viral, and hopefully whoever.
No, we don't need anything else going viral. We got Corona already.
That's right. We got enough corona. We've got the Wuhan virus.
What
We
is
don't
it?
need
Oh, I
anymore.
saw a promotion the other day. What was it? Buy cruise ship. Buy 1 week, get 2 weeks free. The promo code was Corona.
Corona. Well, you know, I think Corona beer is have buy one get one free coming out soon.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Well, you know, I was seeing this the other day too. That 40% of the people in the United States believe Corona beer has something to do with the coronavirus.
Well, that's also just happens to be that 40% of the people are Democrats.
But these people vote. How scary is that?
I know, and they vote Democrats.
They actually vote. Well, let's hope they vote somehow. I don't know. Oh my gosh, these people actually go cast a ballot, for God's sakes, knowing zero about hardly anything.
Yeah. That's, you know, I was just in Mexico, and I reassured them that no, the United States does not think Corona beer let loose the virus. But I couldn't say that there weren't Democrats who actually believe that Corona beer is.
But when you open the refrigerator and the Bud Light has a mask on, you're wondering what's happening.
You're wondering what's going on.
And they separate themselves from the Coronas on the other side of the fridge. And you knew you put them all together.
Folks, just put on your little medical mask, pop the top of your Corona, let the virus out, and then drink it.
That's right. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, I mean, people are I see people prepping, and we talk about prepping on this show because, you know,
Hey, prepping is good.
Defense is part of having weapons. The biggest part is defense, and being prepared is the best defense you can have.
You know what I always say? Chance favors the prepared.
That's right. Now, granted, though, how prepared are people? I see these people pushing out of the wholesale clubs pallets of water and toilet paper,
Toilet paper?
and no food. What the hell are they going to do?
The government's going to give you food. Didn't you know that?
Don't they know if they turn the little knobs in their house, water just flows out?
Apparently, Bernie Sanders is not going to give you toilet paper and water, but he's going to give you free everything else.
Free tuition,
So
free health care.
tuition, free health care, free lettuce, free corn.
Strikes me that you're going to need a lot more health care if you have no good food and no toilet paper.
Yeah. Good
Health care has
luck.
become a much more expensive part of your living.
Health care. Well, Roger. Now, you don't take my words out of context. Health care is a human right.
Right, it's a right. So it should be paid for by the government. That's what he says, right?
That's what he says.
But now wait a minute.
Which
The
means
right
you,
to
the
keep
people.
and bear arms is in the Constitution as a right. Does that mean the government should buy my guns for me?
No, Roger. You don't need a gun. I'm the elitist.
I need a gun. All right, we're going to be right back after this. This is Locked and Loaded. You're listening to America's Web Radio.
You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, and every family will save thousands of dollars a year. I'm Ellen Deal, and if you've been hurt by the Affordable Care Act, you can email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com to see if we can help. Small business owners, individuals, families, and baby boomers, email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com for 3 easy questions to determine if you can get away from Obamacare. I'm a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry and here to help you for all your insurance needs.
This is Dr. Susan Blank, host of Detailing Addiction on America's Web Radio. Please join us at 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons.
Want to give your family or loved one the perfect gift? Then go online and check out the TornadoBodyDryer.com. I love mine and the warm heat air massage it gives me after my shower. The Tornado Body Dryer is super. You'll love it, and you'll love having one in your shower.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we're back. You're listening to America's Web Radio. This is Locked and Loaded. I'm Roger B. And sitting here with me today, our special guest from On Point with Victor Hernandez.
That's right. You know, I just can't leave. There's just too much.
There's so much to discuss. I mean, this is getting crazy. I mean, calling for citizens' arrest on politicians threatening Supreme Court justices. I mean,
what is happening?
How prepared are you going to have to be? How much ammo do you have? Enough ammo?
Yes, you can never have enough ammo.
I have too much ammo. Said nobody ever.
Nobody ever said no America Constitution loving person ever.
That's right. And someone once asked me, now why do you need more ammo than it takes to fill your gun? For the same reason you don't buy toilet paper 20 squares at a time. Because when stuff happens, it's going to get messy.
It's going to get messy. Well, hey, look, according to your Democrat politicians, you don't need more than 5 rounds, as long as they have more than 5 rounds.
Right. But let me ask you this. Now, who would be responsible? Now, say you see no gun signs everywhere. If you out and about, you see this. All these stores, businesses, a lot of them put up no gun signs. Now, most of them have a picture of a revolver or a Beretta, which I don't carry, so I don't concern myself with that.
Clearly, it doesn't qualify for us.
And I almost never, in fact, I never see these signs until I'm walking out.
Exactly.
I never see them
I don't
before
know how that happens, but I never see them either.
Now, granted, in Georgia, you will not get in trouble for walking in with one, but if they ask you to leave, you have to leave because then you're trespassing. Yeah. But if you carry a gun concealed, no one knows it's there.
No one knows it's there.
And no one will know it's there until they need to know it's there.
They need to know.
And by then, they'll be happy you have it.
you know, Roger, you mentioned that. And if you can indulge me for a second, I'll tell you a little story that happened last night.
Let's go for it. This is firsthand.
Firsthand, ladies and gentlemen, because this happened to me and a couple of buddies last night. But I'll just make it a quick, try to condense it very fast. We were in a little restaurant, a little wing place, and we're 3 of us sitting at a table. Guy comes in, and a young, healthy, let's just say built guy comes in and starts accosting the table, threatens one of my friends. He starts asking and trying to get him to fight. And we looked at him. And
so this guy came up and just started trying to ask you to fight.
He just came up. He just came in and asked for food and money, and we turned him down. And he asked some other people, and they turned him down, and then he left. Then he came back, in, and for some reason he singled out one of my friends and started just basically accosting him. They didn't touch him, but he was verbally assaulting him. And then he came to the table, leaned on the table, and sat down in the chair and started threatening my friend.
This is why you guys are sitting at the table.
While we were sitting at the table. Now, the manager, I look over for the manager, they do nothing. I look over some other people sitting down, and they're just watching, and I was waiting for cell phones to come out, but they did nothing. So I'm sitting there, and I was very nice. And I said...
You're always very nice.
Exactly. And I looked at him, I said, look, you really need to leave now. And then he looked at me, and he threatened me. And then he looked back at my friend, and he threatened him. And then my friend says, look, you really need to leave now. And we were as nice as could be. And then he leaned forward.
Did you say please?
You know, in fact, I think I actually did. I do believe I did say please. Then he turned back to me, and he made another threat. And at that point, with the training that I have, when somebody threatens you more, first of all, they threaten you once, you end it there. But I let this guy threaten 3 times.
Well, he didn't show a weapon. He didn't get aggressive. He didn't strike anybody or touch anybody.
My training doesn't matter. If they're making the threat more than once, then the next thing is going to be action.
Once he came over to you and sat down at your table, he closed the safety distance there.
You have to assume that when somebody's threatening you that and they're that close, the next move they're going to make is the action.
Right. You don't want to have that sucker punch come flying in.
You cannot let them make the action. So at that point, I lean back and I pull out all I had. I just reached for my weapon, did not unholster it. All I did was show the tip of it. I pull it out to let him know. And the guy he leans back, he looks at me, goes, "Oh, you're going to shoot a ninja." And
I see.
And I looked at him, I said, "Hey, I'm asking you to leave." And he looked and he got up and he ran out that door. And while he was running out the door, he said a few choice words. And
I'm sure he called you guys some names and whatnot.
But we didn't see him again. He left.
He didn't come back in after that.
He did not come back after that.
Maybe he actually thought about that and said, "Okay, I thought I was going to have an easy time of this, harassing some people, maybe threatening some people."
He thought he had a restaurant full of
suckers,
targets, of suckers, or people who
liberals.
wouldn't stand for themselves. Yes, and look, everybody else in that restaurant was a sitting duck, but all it took was for me to show, hey, I'm not going to sit here and let you threaten people.
So the weapon wasn't pointed at him? It wasn't even unholstered?
Never pointed it, never unholstered it. All I
did just saw that you had one and then decided, you know what?
And then he decided,
maybe I'm just going to call you some names and I'm going to leave.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. He left. And that's just the perfect point there is because of the Second Amendment, I was able to, who knows? Now, I'm not calling myself a hero, but we don't know to what extent he would have gone to. We don't know if he had weapons on him or knives on him. We don't know how many people he could have harmed there. But the fact that he knew that I was going to fight back, he left.
And you said he kept coming over and kept harassing everybody in the place,
We gave him about 5 chances where he came in, hassled people, left, came back, hassled people, left, came back. And then when he came back,
management never did anything about this.
No. And the last time he came back is when he came to the table, got in our face, and like I said, there is a certain distance, and when that distance is breached and that person is threatening you,
then everything goes to DEFCON 5.
Exactly.
DEFCON 1.
You have 2 choices. You stand there and you let him fulfill the threat, and then you're playing defense.
Right.
Or you do the way I was trained. Is you put a stop to it right away.
Yeah, put a little distance between you, reveal that you're ready to take this to the next level if he persists.
And he left, and we enjoyed our meal.
Well, that's the kind of thing. Sometimes, though, people don't realize what they're getting into.
Absolutely.
They assume they're dealing with... Now, do you know if this... Well, you probably wouldn't have seen it anyway, but if there was a sign outside that said there was supposed to be no weapons...
For this restaurant, I have not seen a sign, so I don't know what their policy is. But no one, not one. Yeah, I will say this: not one customer complained that I had a weapon.
No, nobody said. The cops didn't come. Nothing happened. Yeah, they probably went, whew, because if it was in Texas, you probably wouldn't have been alone.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have been the only one in there. And in this instance, I was, and we was laughing because the 2 friends I were with left theirs in the vehicle.
Oh, yeah,
and,
that's
it ain't going to do you any good if you leave it in the vehicle.
But I bet they'll learn something right then and there about that.
Oh, I bet
they're going to start changing their habits a little bit, and that's what it takes sometimes.
Yeah. People look. I've been
with you to that restaurant before, and I always put my long pants on and strap on and come on in.
You just never know, and I would rather have it and never need it than to need it and not have it, because a criminal only has to get lucky once.
What they said: rather go to my grave never having to use my gun, rather than needing it.
Exactly. So I've said before when people ask me why do you carry a gun. Because a police is too damn heavy.
Cops are too heavy and too far away.
Too heavy, and so look, I would rather have it and never need it. And out of all the years I've carried, and look, I carry a gun like I carry a wallet. And out of all the years that I've been doing this, that may have been maybe the 5th time that I've ever had to show it. I've never had to unholster it. I've never had to point it at somebody.
Yeah, I actually got one guy to move out of my way by just reaching around my back.
Right.
And I wasn't where I was keeping my gun, but I just made it look as if I was.
It looked like it, yeah.
It was actually in my, I was carrying a bag at the time in front of me, and I didn't want to open it up and actually show the weapon, but I reached my back, around my back, took a stance as if I was going to draw, and he kind of looked at me and just kind of, oh, man, no, it's cool, and he walked away, and that was it. Never showed it, never threatened him with anything.
Right. Yeah, no, I never threatened the guy. But I just let him
you didn't
know.
even point it at him.
And you know, his reaction was, oh, man, you're going to shoot it. And I'm using the word ninja. And I said, no, I'm not going to shoot anybody unless it comes to that. We are asking you to leave. And by that point, he was hightailing it out the door.
Yeah, he took the wiser choice there.
Most criminals want the path to least resistance.
Right.
And when he saw that path was obstructed by someone who was going to stand up,
when the resistance all of a sudden increased tremendously,
then he made his exit appropriately.
Now, what about this? I saw this because you see a lot of these places have no guns allowed laws or signs everywhere, no guns allowed inside. Well, now there's a bill pending in Minnesota where the bill would let people who have a gun permit sue if they get hurt in a store that has a sign prohibiting gun carry. Huh. So if you are not allowed to carry your weapon there and something happens and you get hurt, you sue that store for not allowing you to carry.
That's actually something that I've asked before. And I at one point in college, I was studying for the LSAT because I wanted to study constitutional law, and I've studied a little bit, but I did not go to law school. And because I wanted what drew me to constitutional law was the Second Amendment, because of instances like that when you have schools or stadiums and sport events where they say no guns allowed and it just
this is even private businesses,
right, that are saying no guns are allowed. Do I have the Constitution's actually on my side because you are denying my right to protect myself,
right? And by doing such, they're claiming that these stores are taking on the responsibility to take care of you.
Exactly. If you're telling me that I can't do it, then where does that responsibility fall?
Then it falls with a store that tells you can't do it yourself, apparently, with this law coming in. So we'll see.
That's a good law to get behind. What state is that?
Minnesota.
Again, another leftist state. This is giving me hope.
Yeah, so they're saying if there's a visible sign saying no firearms allowed on premises or something to that effect, and you obey that sign, and then something happens, and you can't defend yourself, or you get wounded, or somebody else gets hurt because of that sign, then you're allowed to sue that business because they're taking on responsibility for your safety by putting that sign up and telling you can't do it. That means they'll have to do it.
Exactly.
So you want to take responsibility, by all means, put the sign up. Now, I wonder if this is going to change. I wonder if businesses are going to start taking down these signs going, you know what? We'll take a chance. If this becomes
a law, they will.
Yeah.
If this becomes law.
Probably
and then
so.
And then other states are going to go, okay, we don't.
Oh, I would love for this to spread. Yeah, this would be fantastic.
This needs to spread.
Because the no gun signs are crazy.
Speaking of spreading.
Coronavirus.
Roger, we have a listener that wants to know, would you please elaborate on strap-on? Apparently, you did use that phrase.
Well, the term strapped, in case you didn't know, has a long heritage of meaning carrying a gun.
Oh, that's what we're calling it these days.
If a guy is strapped, it means he's got a weapon. If he's packing, he's got a weapon. It's a generic term.
Still digging a hole there. We should go to our resident friend, who I will not name, and get his opinion on strap. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna get us any more emails or phone calls.
Yes, we don't need any more of that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Wasn't yesterday or day before International Women's Day?
Yes, it was.
Uh-huh.
Nice change of subject there.
Well, if you've ever seen the movie Deadpool, you know where I was going with that.
Absolutely. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. Both of them.
That was a different version of strapped. But no, strapped as for a long time meant you're carrying a gun. Oh, man. So if you're strapped or know somebody's strapped or packing, it means they're carrying a gun. Yeah, you can make it whatever you want, but, we're going to keep it within the realm of guns here. So, but, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see if this law passes in Minnesota. I'm going to be really curious to see who keeps up those signs. All right, we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. I am Roger B. with my special guest, Victor Armendariz, and you're listening to Locked and Loaded on America's Web Radio.
Get your pen and paper ready. if there's a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
This is Dr. Susan Blank, host of Detailing Addiction on America's Web Radio. Please join us at 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's DOCS, the number 4, patientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back once again. I'm Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. And my special guest who's hung out today, Victor Armendariz from On Point with Victor, to give us his political and legal expertise.
I really need to go, but this is too much fun.
Well, you wonder, how do people learn how to shoot guns? Do they learn, sometimes they learn from parents, they learn from friends, older brothers. I mean, a lot of time it's a family heritage passed down.
Back in the day, you could actually learn in school.
Oh, I know. Yes, they taught gun safety classes because if guns are so dangerous, wouldn't it be good to teach gun safety? No, that makes way too much sense.
Yeah. It worked. And then I'm trying to think of a nice word. We'll just call
the socialists.
And then the socialists.
The communists
were born.
And then they wanted to take guns away because they can't take over everything if everybody has guns.
You cannot be a full-on tyrannical government unless you have all the weapons.
Yeah, the general in Japan said the only reason Japan didn't invade the United States?
He was asked, why didn't you guys go ahead and hit California? And he said, because behind every blade of grass is a gun.
A gun. And somebody willing to use it.
Somebody willing to use it. That was their view of America. And, hey, they changed the course of history.
Well, I think the standing army in China is like 2.5 million people. Gun owners in America, 100 million people.
Yeah.
The founding fathers knew what they were doing.
They really did. Make no mistake, when you look at a regime like China and Russia, it just them combining the number of manpower they could drop on our shores, which they would probably have done were it not for the 100 million, and that's how much we know. It's more than that. We know it.
Because I would share if I had some people who didn't have guns or were willing to fight. Hey, come on, I'll give you something to shoot with.
What they don't, exactly. What they don't really talk about here is, let's just take two people, for instance, two people who are part of that 100 million gun owners. They've got multiple weapons, more than likely.
That's right, and they've got friends who may not have one, or they may have old stuff that was handed down to them by family members, which are not counted in the 100 million.
And let me tell you, when you hear the Democrats going after AR-15s and things, weapons of that sort, they're being pushed by Soros and people from these socialist countries who know that free people with AR-15s means that they can have enough rounds to fight back.
That's right.
And that is why when you hear your government telling you that you don't need more than 5 rounds, why do you think they're saying that?
Now, the government, when they tell you don't need an AR-15, they're absolutely right. You need 2.
Without a doubt.
The day you don't need 1, you definitely need 2.
You better go get 2 or 3.
Oh, my gosh. These guys are crazy with this stuff. Every tyrannical government in history has taken the guns away. That's like step 2. Or step 1. No, it's like step 2. First is to get the people all riled up, pick an enemy, pick a common enemy, and then you take all their guns away.
Exactly.
And tell them the government will take care of everything.
Don't worry, the government's here to help.
Yeah, the Native Americans learned hard way. That doesn't work very well.
Hey, Paul Revere didn't come running through going, the government's going to help us. The government's going to help us.
No, he did not. He didn't say the deer were coming either, or the turkeys.
Say the deer are coming. The turkey are coming.
No, everyone goes, you don't need that to hunt. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting.
He didn't say they're coming after your hunting weapon. No,
they're coming after your guns.
Coming after your guns.
And we all know that hunting weapons have nothing to do with the Second Amendment. Well, if you don't, you need to know that.
Yeah,
yes.
if you don't, you need to know it.
But some people don't learn from families. You know, some families don't have guns. So this was interesting. Last month, I found this article that one of the top firearm training facilities in California and the entire United States is the River Oaks Firearms Training Center. And they are currently, with local volunteers, they're helping train young people to use and shoot firearms. And the Girl Scouts are coming in hundreds to come learn how to shoot guns.
What?
Well, because
are the Democrats going to stand for this? Because they're anti-woman because they won't let Tulsi Gabbard on the stage. So are they going to stand for women being taught
to
gun
shoot
safety?
guns? Well, I tell you my story all the time about this reporter. She was at a Boy Scout camp, and they were teaching the Boy Scouts to use guns. And she goes, you're teaching these kids to be trained killers. He goes, no, we're not. We're teaching them gun safety and gun responsibility. But you're equipping them to be dangerous killers and violent criminals.
Oh.
And he's like, let me ask you something. He goes, are you a prostitute? And she goes, why no? He goes, well, you have all the equipment to be one. Just because you have equipment doesn't mean you're going to make the wrong decisions.
Exactly.
Don't be ridiculous.
And that's a perfect example of, just because we may choose to have guns because the Second Amendment, it doesn't mean that we're going to go use them for...
That's right. And it's funny because we go, well, it gives you opportunity to be violent. I go, yeah, millions of people every day enjoy shooting weapons, using them for sport, and don't kill anybody.
Man, I've never even shot an animal with my guns.
I have.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just
saying.
Damn
squirrels getting in my house.
Well, I guess if you count a pellet gun, I guess I have.
Yeah, I'd kill a thing here or there.
Hey, look, I'm not putting up with squirrels getting in the house.
No, that's no fun at all.
And look, I as soon as I realized that the garden that we have planted every spring can actually generate money, then
the squirrels have become a target.
Squirrels became a target. You ain't eating my money.
They're not gonna, let them eat out of your wallet, are you?
Nope. You ain't get it. Look, the Democrats get enough of my money. The squirrels ain't gonna get it.
But this is great because this training facility is teaching Girl Scouts how to shoot by the thousands.
That's awesome.
And they have marksmanship programs, gun safety programs, aged from 7 to 17. And they gathered for their first ever session in how to use a weapon. Now, you may wonder, why is this important, especially for women? Not that I'm singling them out, because everyone's going to tell me, oh, women are just as strong as men. Well, genetically, generally, that's not true.
Hey, how come Democrats love to science? How come they don't want to believe that science?
Well, because then there's transgendered sports people who go and dominate over one sex's sporting event that they're probably not even supposed to be competing in.
I learned over the weekend that there are a group of Democrats out there who actually think that transgenders can have abortions. You want to explain that one to me?
I don't know.
Science says no.
Maybe if they were in an airplane. Abort!
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. That's a weird thought. Well, yeah, I don't know how they do that. I wonder if they can have periods also.
You know where I heard? They'll tell you yes. I heard this when Schumer, when he was giving his tough, threatening speech. To the crowd that he was yelling to, they started cheering for Schumer. And she screams, let's hear it for Schumer. And then she says, let's hear it for all the ladies who've had abortions. And then she said, let's hear it for the transgenders who's had abortions. And somebody needs to ask her, what are you talking about?
Did they cheer?
Yes.
Oh, my
they
gosh.
cheered. And that's why I said.
You would have figured they just would have been dumbfounded, like, what do you mean? I mean, do people just not know what trans means? Not sure. Yeah, I know.
They're sheep.
Well, I want to see if Schumer gets taken to task on this whole threatening thing.
Look, if he doesn't, Look, I've already called for people to throw out Lindsey Graham, and now I'm really going to start calling for it if they don't do anything to Schumer. Schumer needs to be, at the very least, censored.
And the fact that Schumer can sit there and call for threats against the highest court in the land. Now, think about what this means to you. If you're out there and Maxine Waters calling for attack on Trump supporters. In fact, there was, they did a Trump rally somewhere in North Carolina, Charlotte, I think it was.
South Carolina.
Charlotte,
North Carolina.
The Bojangles chicken place there refused to serve any Trump supporters. Anybody wearing Trump gear was not allowed to be. They said they weren't going to serve anybody wearing any Trump shirts or hats.
I did not hear about that.
And apparently, so they called the manager of the store, who came, opened the restaurant back up, fired the shift manager right then and there, and said, no, this was a mistake. This guy's trying to make a living, and his shift manager's not letting anybody in, and the rally was like 10 minutes from where the restaurant was.
Good for him for firing them on the spot, because I don't want to give up a Bojangles biscuit. They're actually pretty darn good.
Right, and the capitalist and the owner should probably go, if you shut down my restaurant for your political beliefs, you're out of here.
You go work for McDonald's or something.
Yeah, or you go work for you go work at the Fufu Tofu place down the street.
You know, the other day, somebody drove through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and accosted the girl that was working there. Pulled up to the drive-thru, asked for a cup of water, and she actually gave it to him and said, "Thank you, have a nice day. We love serving you." And the guy sat there and videotaped and accosted her, just told her what an awful person she was, that Chick-fil-A was this evil company and blah, blah, blah. And to her credit, she just said, well, we really like serving you.
Yep, because she's been taught, be friendly, be nice.
Exactly.
Be nice, be friendly. There's no reason to get hostile with idiots.
She was great, so I
they'll
love
usually
Chick-fil-A.
destroy themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And this moron, you can look it up. It's on YouTube, but
I'm sure he thinks he's a hero.
All he did was probably make people look. I would go to Chick-fil-A today just because of that.
I gotta go buy it on the way home, maybe.
Bojangles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the Bojangles, like I say, at least they corrected it quickly. Somehow they found the number of the manager. He came down there, opened that place back up, fired the manager who was on duty right away, said he no longer worked for Bojangles.
That makes me feel
welcome
better.
Everybody.
Because Bojangles is one of the few places I can go in and get a Mountain Dew. So kudos to that manager.
And it's just crazy. And now with the Girl Scout shooting, I'll touch on this just for a second. This is extremely important for women because, by definition, they're the weaker sex. And a restraining order. And the restraining order is only a piece of paper.
That's right. Only.
So if you have daughters, if you have mothers, remember, a restraining order is only a piece of paper. Teach them how to defend themselves against somebody who's potentially bigger and stronger.
And the cops are only
minutes away when seconds count.
Yep. We don't make this stuff up.
That's right. Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up here today, but thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time. Thanks to my guest, Victor Armendariz. I am Roger B., and this is Locked and Loaded on America's Web Radio.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction.